Hello and welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2019 season, as I look ahead to Friday's match against Salford Red Devils here at the Totally Wicked Stadium. We'll get straight into it. Squad news wise, two changes from the 19 that defeated Huddersfield Giants in the Challenge Cup. James Bentley and Jack Welsby come into the squad with Danny Richardson and James Roby missing out. There was talk earlier on Wednesday, that Roby and Matty Lees might both have knocks and miss out. But it seems like we're managing James Roby, as Justin Holbrook's been opening saying all season. We've got Magic Weekend next weekend, we've got the Cup game the week after. It makes sense just to rest him, and any knocks that he has got, don't risk them. I think in 3 weeks we've got London away, which is on a 4G pitch. And it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to risk James Roby in a game where Aaron Smith can come in and do a good job. We've seen that already this season. The lad needs to learn in the first team environment and needs to be relied upon, and this is the perfect opportunity for him again. With regards to Matty Lee's knock, I suppose he might come through, he might well play on Friday, might just clear up and not be too serious. But I'm wondering, currently with Louis out, with Luke Thompson out, is there a way back in for Luke Douglas? We've had people tell us that we're up to the cap. I mean, no offence to people who have told us that. I'd like to see Saints accounts before verifying that. Or is it just he's fallen out of favour because he's saying he's retiring at the end of the year? It's one or the other. But it just doesn't look like there's room at the minute for Luke Douglas within the squad. Going back to that cup game, we toiled at first against Huddersfield, and I probably didn't give the Giants enough credit in the instant fan reaction after the game. I mean, it's a lot more difficult when you're watching it on a screen than watching it live, because you see little nuances live. I've said this before, and I'd much rather watch a game live, get to the away game than try and watch it on TV, but needs must, and that's it. Huddersfield made it very difficult. Wardle was fantastic for them. He was just a handful for us, so it's really just to redress the balance there. Now, there's been, obviously, with Danny Richardson dropping out, been a little bit of talk on social media. I've seen a couple of our Twitter comments with regards to Farge's performance in that game. Now, Farge scored one and set up two with his kicks, and was involved in the first as well. I think he was involved in the passing move in the first. And I don't just think it's a Farge issue. I think as a team, we lacked a bit of composure. Coote's effort at the drop goal, us on the last plays, we just didn't quite get it right. And while Farge has got to shoulder some of the blame for that as a scrum half, I think it could go through the team and some of the older, more experienced players who could have done a little bit better as well. I think it's easy for us to get carried away with how Saints are going at the minute as well. Being top of the league, only lost one all season, really put some good performances in as well. It's really easy for us to get carried away, and we need to not fall into that trap, both as fans and as coaching staff, players and whatever. And yeah, we've just got to take, it sounds like it's such a monotonous phrase, but I'm going to use it. You've just got to take each day as it comes, and each game as it comes, and just play who is out in front of you. Now, that said, we've not lost at home to Salford in the Super League era, and Salford have just been beaten in the Cup as well, so they'll be reeling from that defeat. They have got Paulie available Wednesday. He made a 1 month loan swap move with Junior Sow. Wakefield a light in the back, Salford light in the fronts after letting Jansen Turgut go. So that's it. I don't know. On the face of it, it seems a strange swap, because you think Paulie is one of the mainstays of the Wakefield pack, but according to Chris Chester, he's just not getting game time, and he needs them minutes. And you know what? If that's what the clubs need to do, that's what the clubs need to do. I'd be hoping Saints would do something similar if we were struggling. If you want a blog from a Salford perspective as well, once you've been on our forums, our site and all that, have a look for Paul Whiteside on Twitter. He's at Salford RL76. He's wrote a really good blog as well, really informative, looks back at a former game, looks at our head-to-heads and takes this game into consideration as well. Yeah, it's a really good blog, and he helped us with our preview at the start of the season, so I'm quite happy to give Paul a bit of a shout out there. Obviously facing us again in that Salford team will be Josh Jones, who has been linked with us in some of the rugby league press. I'm not entirely sure where that link comes from. I know we got asked about it and we hadn't heard it, to be honest with you. He's been linked with us, Wigan and Leeds, I think. To be honest, I'm not sure. It depends what he wants salary-wise. Personally, I can't see it happening. I can't see him coming back. Cue him signing tomorrow. But I think more than likely Leeds look like they need forwards, and he does provide a little bit of utility because he can play in the centres as well. I mean, he had the number 4 shirt here, didn't he? So yeah, and as I say, in the past we've had Theo Farge has come from Salford to us. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest, at Danny Richardson dropping out. I'm just going to go back to the squads a little minute. Richardson dropping out of the squad, but I take it he's going to get games at Lee. Rather than him just kicking his heels here. Justin Holbrook doesn't just drop people for nothing, and obviously I don't think, I've been asked this, I've been asked who I'd drop to play Richardson. I don't think, while they're completely different styles, I don't think there's a really vast chasm in between the two of them, and kind of, not what they bring, because they're both different styles of players. I'm going to kind of contradict myself here, but I don't think there's a vast difference between the two lads. Theo's better defensively, yeah. Danny is more of an off-the-cuff player, more like a Sean Long-esque player. I'm not trying to compare him or anything here, but Farge got the nod early on, and it's just trying to make sense of it. Farge got the nod early on because of Richardson's injury, and while Danny came in for the Catalan game, and our right edge started looking good with Danny there, the question is, and the question that I'll ask you lot out there, did Danny do enough to warrant keeping his place? We're not going to find room in the team just for a goal kicker. You've got to bring more to the squad than that. You've got to bring more to the match day 17. So did he do enough? And that's something that I'll ask you. You'll have your own opinion on it. Justin Holbrook obviously thinks not, and we are where we are. That Theo Farge will probably be starting in the number 7 spot on Friday. A couple of other things just before I go, because this is 8 minutes rambling again. Other bits of news from around the rugby league world. I've seen that Spurs are rumoured to be in for Magic Weekend in 2020. That's ahead of them using the Emirates for the World Cup in 2021. I know there's some people who love Magic Weekend, some people who hate Magic Weekend, some people who aren't happy it's gone to Anfield but prefer it in Newcastle. I know I would, to kind of take it to pastures new. If they're going away from that, then has Magic Weekend had its day? Arguably so. But going down to Spurs would be, I think it's a good thing. New markets, that's what you've got to look at. New markets, such as, I mean, we're going to on the road at Catalan in the new camp on Saturday. I'm jealous sick of them doing that. I want Saints to be the front runners in kind of expanding the sport, but but they've been chosen for some reason. Being champions, you'd imagine, is the only reason, because it's definitely not off how they've been playing this year, is it? My only thing with Magic Weekend is, if we're going to have it as part of the fixtures, I do believe it should just be one of your home or away fixtures, and hopefully Super League can start getting money in from marketing to kind of reimburse you from what fixture you would have here. So if it is Saints Castleford and it was one of our home fixtures gone, then all of a sudden your season ticket doesn't cost as much and Saints get the reimbursement from losing out on that. I know this is just me, kind of my thoughts without looking into it, but it's just an idea. I'm sure people who are much cleverer than me can come up with a better one. And last but not least, been messaged by one of our Saltire Saints, one of the Scots who travels down to the games, who Nick it is, who has asked me just to mention that Glasgow Rugby League has its first game this weekend against the Fife Lions. It's 2 p.m. at Scotstoun Stadium. It's free entry, and it's the first Rugby League game played in Glasgow in 4 years. Now, I've seen that a couple of the Scots lads are going to come down over the next couple of weeks, so hopefully we can get them on and they can let us know how they've done. But yeah, that's it from me. 10 minutes. Far too long for one person to be talking, isn't it? So yeah, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I will see you round by the Kieran Cunningham statue after the game for some instant fan reaction.